Team Freeview, welcome to this review, Voxcast of Saga of the Beasts. Double whammy supplement for the Space Wolves and the Orcs. So, interesting is going to be my first word. When I first read this book, it's obviously been out. Well, it's actually, to be fair, as of filming this, it was still on pre-order. But as of the release of this, it should be out. Obviously, we do have the coronavirus situation. Bone and I now like day 4 or 5 of isolation together.
Yes.
He's living with me at the moment. But you can, I think, still pre-order the book, or if you've pre-ordered it, there might be a delay in actually receiving the book, because currently Games Workshop, as of filming this, are not delivering on any of their orders. So hopefully that will change soon, but we have to all wait this out together, right?
Yep.
So what we have, we're going to go over the Wolves first, pretty much as it comes up in the book, and then we'll go over the Orcs. Now, what's also funny about this is these are 2 of your favourite armies.
Yeah.
So
my very favourite.
This should be your book.
Yeah.
You know.
It's I like half of it.
Do you like half the book?
Yeah.
But you don't like the other half?
No.
Is it now? Because that's a bold statement. Before we kick off, what is it you when you say you don't like it?
Let's just do it. Let's just do it, and then we can have a discussion about how I feel.
Okay. So weirdly, this won't be a super long review, because there isn't actually a tremendous amount to cover.
No.
In my opinion, especially with the Space Wolf side, because actually they're just sort of filling gaps from the book that they didn't have, and that's a lot of the Primaris units that just weren't in there.
Yeah.
Look at all the Phobos stuff. We do, however, and we should, however, kick off with the man himself, Mr. Blackmane.
Yes. Which is epic.
Absolute weapon. One of my favourite, in fact, probably my favourite Space Wolf character. I'm sure a lot of Space Wolf fans feel the same. He's
Cadmus
iconic.
Bane?
Officially named characters.
Okay, sure, cool. We've got to be clear.
So, we'll go over to Ragnar Blackmane in just a moment, but to cut a long story short, you get all of the combat doctrine here written into your book, because obviously this was Space Wolves were released before that was a thing, and now you get updated data sheets for the Wolf Priest in Terminator armor and the normal Wolf Priest. They've got their healing balms. And spiritual leader using their 6-inch reroll, but the key, 6 inches that can have their friendly Space Wolf units can use their leadership. But the key thing here is that they've got the Litany of Hate, and you now have access to litanies, including an all-new Space Wolf one. But you've lost what it was called, the Oath of War, or I think it was called. So you don't have the re-roll hits automatically. Yeah,
which
you've got to roll for it, because it's a litany now, right? So you were upset about that.
The Oath of War. I was upset about that.
But you do gain more litanies, though.
Yeah, but you've got to roll for it now.
You've got to roll for it. That's the only downside. You've got to roll.
It's a 3+. It's not guaranteed.
It's not, and as a result, I mean, I found Chaplains in general. So it's worth mentioning this now. I find them quite. Sometimes I'm not that enamoured, because I'm like, well, if a good 2 turns, and in my case, sometimes 3 turns.
They just don't go off.
The game, they just don't go off, and you're like, oh. And unless, of course, he's like the master of, I forget what they're called, but basically the super chaplain.
Yeah.
Which Space Marines can do with the CP. It's not that reliable, and you're like, well, yeah. I almost wish that the chaplain ability was an ability that went off perhaps easier, maybe on a 2+, or it was just always on, but perhaps you didn't have as many and you had to pay a certain amount of points for whatever the ability was. I don't know what the solution is, but right now they don't sit well with me, unless you're going to take multiple of them to sort of guarantee, so that actually you're rolling 2d6 and only one of them needs to be a 3-up to get what you want, but then you spent all these points on it. I don't know. So look, those are the Wolf Priests. The litanies are exactly the same as normal Space Marine ones. We'll cover the Space Wolf only one momentarily. You've got the Primaris Wolf Priest as well now, Wolf Lord in Phobos armor, Primaris Battle Leaders in Phobos armor, so updated data sheets here, Rune Priest in Phobos armor, Intercessors, Infiltrators, Incursors, The tactical war suit, of course, suppressors, eliminators, repulsor executioner, impulsor, pretty much a whole Primaris contingent. So let's cover the one that has crossed the Rubicon.
Yes.
It's your man, Ragnar Blackmane.
Yes.
6-inch move, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2, strength and toughness 4, 6 wounds, 7 attacks. He's rocking 7 base attacks. Leadership 9, 3 up save. Frostfang, melee weapon +2, -4 damage 2. Battle Lust is his special rule. When a friendly Space Wolves unit within 6 inches of this model and not within 3 inches of an enemy unit consolidates, it can move up to 6 inches instead of 3. That's a really powerful aura ability to have. Warhowl, you can reroll charge rolls for friendly Space Wolves units other than vehicle units if they are within 6 inches of this model when the roll is made. Again, another really powerful aura ability to have. Reroll charge, fantastic. Consolidate 6 inches, fantastic. Jarl of Fenris, basically you're a captain, you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for friendly Space Wolves units within 6 inches. Berserker Rage, when this model is affected by the Shock Assault ability, add 3 to his attacks instead of 1, and he's got the Belt of Rust for a 4+ invulnerable save. And that is all for
120 points.
120 points, yeah. So let's double check that just in case we're wrong. But Ragnar Blackmane, Primaris.
Named characters.
Named characters.
120.
I think that's a bargain for 120 points.
So do I.
Great aura buffs. There is an argument that, well, do you take him over a Wolf Lord that you can give a jump pack or a Thunder Wolf to because they're faster? Because it's always about delivery system with these combat armies, isn't it? But he's got really, really good buffs. And if you are doing like a sort of more Primaris themed Space Wolf Force and you're trying to do like impulsors and stuff, then having Ragnar in the Force makes sense because you're whacking him in with those. Put some thunder hammers on your intercessor sergeants and jobs are good.
But that is one of the things that has. Unless you're running that particular build, he's going to really struggle to keep up with things like Thunderwolf Cavalry, Wolfen, Jump Pack Infantry, because he's Primaris, he's on foot. That's it. Yeah. So he's amazing, but you got to get him there.
Yeah.
And that's what, so. And the more I was reading the book, the more stressed out I got about it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I think you could use acute senses, the stratagem, to outflank him because I think that does work on infantry, and I think you can do that on multiple units. It is 1 CP though per unit. Yeah. I think you can do it on multiple units. I'm just I'm spitballing here, trying to think of an idea about because you could maybe have him appear with. But even then,
you've got to be within
Wolfen unit maybe.
Yeah, but you've got to be Wolfen.
Well, they reroll charge anyway, so.
But then you've got to be you could, but you've got to be wholly within 6 inches of a table edge.
Yeah, so it can be sort of mitigated. I mean, you know, and then you're having to pay 2 CP for that as well. Yeah. 1 for the Thunderwolves, 1 for him. Tricky one. I mean, there's no doubt about. The guy's got 10 attacks.
On the charge, when he's charged, and when he heroically intervenes as well. Actually.
Yeah, and then when he gets into Assault Doctrine, Savage Fury is your new ability. Yeah. If you're a pure Space Wolf army, which is for every unmodified hit roll of a 6 that's made for an attack with a melee weapon by a unit with this ability, the attack scores 1 additional hit. So it's not an additional attack; you just get an additional hit. Yeah. So it's like Tesla, but in combat. Granted, you need to be in turn 3 onwards to get there with the Assault Doctrine. But
he can put out an incredible amount of damage.
Yeah.
And, if he is on foot, he's probably getting there turn 3. So, he arrives at the final hour, as it were. Yeah.
It seems to me that...
He needs an impulsor.
Yeah, if you're gonna exactly. You go impulsors... You whack in your Grey Hunters, your Primaris, but your Intercessors, I believe, are Grey Hunters. Yeah. Or they're supposed to be the equivalent of Primaris Grey Hunters, but anyway. And then you Impulsor hold 6, I think, right? Correct. So you can have units of 5 with a Thunderhammer, and then have your characters inside with them. Yeah. It's an option,
Yeah. You say characters, he's the only Primaris character.
He is actually the only Primaris character.
So that's the thing. So,
but no, I mean you've got your new Primaris HQ options as well.
Oh sure.
But yeah, if you wanted to have named characters, other named characters, they'll just have to do their thing separately.
Separately, which is
Yeah, this is what it is. So look, You've got Vanguard Warlord traits. We're not going to go over those because they're exactly the same as normal.
Yep.
We've then got some additional Space Wolves stratagems. Now, a lot of these are just copy and paste from Space Marines, the updated book. Duty Eternal for your Dreadnoughts, Veteran Intercessors, Boltstorm, Hammer of Wrath for jump pack units, Rapid Fire, Big Guns Never Tire, which is cool, and Hero of the Chapter. Very, very neat, because that's useful, getting an additional Saga, aka Warlord trait.
Yeah, really cool.
1 CP, so that's going to be a nice bit of a boon. And then we have, again, a lot of these are copy and paste, but we've got some. I'm going to pick out a couple which are new and which are standouts. So Death Grip Bite, 1 CP. That's your Thunderwolf Cavalry unit. The Thunderwolves themselves now get damage 2.
Yeah, which is
that's
nice.
pretty tasty for 1 CP. And then you've got in the Space Wolves book as well. You've got 1 CP for re-rolling all hits. And there's also a 1 CP one for re-rolling 1s to wound.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could
if
spend.
you don't have your buffing characters around.
Yeah, exactly. So if you didn't have any buffing characters, but you've got a big unit of Thunderwolves and you wanted to spend 3 CP on them, they'd be really re-rolling all their hits, re-rolling 1s to wound, and the Thunderwolves themselves would be doing damage too.
Yeah. See, I like Touch of the Wild, so you put that on Ragnar.
Yeah, 1 CP. This is crazy. Select, use a stratagem in the fight phase, select 1 Space Wolves character model in your army until the end of that phase. When resolving an attack made by that model, an unmodified hit roll of 4+ scores 1 additional hit. So basically you're getting your Super Doctrine ability, but whenever you want, despite not being an Assault Doctrine. Yeah. And you're doing it on a 4-up.
Yeah, so you put that on someone like Ragnar, and then that's crazy.
Yeah.
Then you're pumping out like 15 hits.
Yeah. Which is just insane.
Yeah.
Knowledge of the foe, 0 CP.
Yeah, you just get this.
Use this stratagem in the fight phase when an enemy character is destroyed by an attack made by Space Wolves model in your army. Doesn't even need to be one of your characters, just a Space Wolves model. You receive a command point. That's really cool.
Yeah, it obviously costs nothing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how they get their CP back. I think that's really cool.
Counter charge, really, really cool. You select 1 Space Force unit from your army until the end of that phase. That unit can perform, you use it in the opponent's charge phase, by the way, sorry. Until the end of that phase, that unit can perform a heroic intervention as if it were a character. In addition, it can perform a heroic intervention if there are any enemy units within 6 inches of it instead of 3 inches. When doing so, can move up to 6 inches instead of 3 inches.
Great.
It's outstanding. It's really, really neat. Counter assault ability there, and Space Wolves, let's face it, they're certainly being pushed as an assault army, so you should in theory have lots of good units in combat. Vicious Executioners, select this stratagem in the fight phase when a Wolf Guard unit from your army is chosen to fight with. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit against an infantry unit, an unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target in addition to any other damage. So I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pack Hunters, that's for fight phase as well. Again, it's all very combat centric. Fenrisian Wolves or Cyber Wolves unit from your army is chosen to fight with. Till the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit, if that unit is within 3 inches of a friendly Space Wolves infantry unit or Space Wolves cavalry unit, you can re-roll the hit roll. So basically you're getting re-roll hits for 1 CP on your Wolves. I mean, okay, great, Any other standouts for you? You've got Crushing Assault, which I've really frothed over at first, and then realised actually it's
not that great.
It's 1 CP to do on a 2+. A unit can suffer a mortal wound if you're within an inch.
But if you're within multiple units, then you can do it on all.
Could kick off. Transhuman Physiology is obviously a copy and paste, but it is a really critical addition.
Yeah, I mean that's going to go well on your Wolfen or your Thunderwolf Cavalry. So that's good. That's it. I mean, that's kind of it, really.
Yeah.
The others you've probably seen before, or variations of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely stuff in there which will make your army a bit more bitey.
Storm Strike's good. Use this. It's only 1 CP. Shooting phase when a Stormfang gunship from your army is chosen to shoot with. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made with a Hellfrost Destructor by that model, add 1 to the hit, wound, and damage rolls.
Yeah, not bad.
I mean, for 1 CP, the problem is they're such an expensive unit, and there's so many things that can just blow them out of the sky.
And
turn 1.
They don't. But they're more of a gunboat as well, so
yes.
They don't really carry that much as far as units are concerned.
But if you are taking 1, At least for 1 CP, you can, because that Hellfrost has always been a bit swingy anyway.
Yeah, so effectively, if you're using the focused beam on the Stormfang, it's heavy 3, strength 8 minus 4, d6 damage. So,
but if you do the disperse beam, it's only strength 6 minus 2 damage 2, but this would actually become damage 3 now. 3d3 shots. And it's strength 6, but you're adding 1 to the wound roll.
Yeah. So you're wounding, most vehicles and force, which is alright.
Yeah, with 3d3 shots, rate of fire and all that. Yeah. 6 shots on average.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Interesting.
It's not bad.
And that's it, guys. That's your stratagems. Obscuration discipline, that's your Phobos stuff. Litanies of battle, exactly the same, except now you get Space Wolf's Tale of the Wolf King and Lord of the Deeps. If this litany is inspiring, select one friendly Space Wolves unit within 6 inches of this model. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by modeling that unit against a monster or vehicle unit, add 1 to the damage characteristic of that weapon for that attack.
Cool.
I mean, it is really cool. You're facing a neck wall or something. It's a nice extra ability to have. But as we've discussed, unless you're running multiple priests, you don't have a guarantee of that thing going off.
No.
So it's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then you got a whole bunch of relics.
Yeah, a couple of pages.
Yeah.
They're all quite specific.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. Yeah. So
and they seem to be more individual. There's not too many buffing ones.
No, I mean you liked Mountain Breaker Helm.
Yeah, because that's just cool.
Yeah, infantry character. After you resolved your attacks in the fight phase, select an enemy unit within an inch. On a 2+, they suffer D3 mortal wounds. If the ability destroys a character, though, your Saga automatically goes off, regardless of what the requirements of that Saga were. Your Deed of Legends, sorry. Nice. Talisman of Storms, Rune Priest only. After resolving the first psychic power for the bearer, roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 12 inches. On a 4-up, they suffer 1 mortal wound. I mean...
You're never going to take it.
No, probably not, because it would work with your Rune Priest having a jump pack and you sort of throw him forward in a suicide way. But I mean,
it's just a single mortal wound, though.
Yeah, just no. Worm Splitter, Cool Axe.
Yeah.
It's damage 4 against a monster or vehicle, +1 strength, -2, normally damage 2.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Storm Song replaces a mastercrafted Stalker Bolter. It's heavy 1 strength 6, -3 damage 3, and it can target a character. I mean, that is pretty decent. But it's 1 shot.
Yeah.
And, Weird Bane to model equipped with a runic sword, +1 strength, -4 damage d3. When resolving an attack with this weapon, you can reroll the wound roll. In addition, if the target is a psyker, the weapon has a damage characteristic of 3.
Cool.
Okay. And then you've got, these are pretty much copy and paste. Digital weapons, mastercrafted weapon, adamantine mantle. Companion's Blade is replacing a power sword or mastercrafted power sword, +2 strength, -3 damage 2. When resolving an attack with this weapon, if the bearer is within 3 inches of another Space Wolf's character, you can reroll the wound roll. Cool. Wolftail Talisman. When a psychic test is taken for an enemy model within 18 inches of a model from your army with this relic, subtract 2 from the result. It's a good debuff. But again, you've got to be within 18 inches. Morkai's Teeth Bolts. Select a bolt weapon. If you do so, you can make 1 attack with that weapon, but if a hit is scored, the target suffers a mortal wound, and that unit is marked by Morkai until the end of the turn. When resolving an attack against a unit that is marked by Morkai, re-roll a wound roll of 1, so you can sort of get a free lieutenant ability if you get that hit off. Runic Armor, 2-up save, 5-up invuln. Nothing, in my opinion, that screams game-changing, meta-changing Space Wolves. They're always going to take this relic. There's some good ones, but I mean nothing that's going to catapult them into a new play style, if that makes sense. Updated points values, sure. Mainly all of this Primaris stuff in here, in line with the Space Marine Codex. Yeah. Interesting. Cool that you've got a Space Wolves name generator. I do like the name generators. Useful for the narrative stuff that we do as well.
Yeah. But they're so fun.
And that's it. That's Space Wolves. There isn't... Because your Super Doctrine helps buff your already good ability in Assault. You've got some... You actually do have, in my opinion, some of the best Assault units in the game.
Yep.
Wolf and Toe to go, in my opinion, pretty much kill anything in the game in combat. Because even if you kill them first... people go, oh, well, I'll kill them first. Well, then they will kill you.
Yeah.
There are very few things that can survive a round of attacks from Wolfen. The problem has always been delivery, hasn't it? And that's why I think Blood Angels also are a very assault-centric army. But the difference between them and Space Wolves is Blood Angels have a way to be delivered.
Heaps of ways
quite
to be
accurately.
delivered.
Yeah, you know, you can redeploy, you can get a 3d6-inch charge, you can deny Overwatch with the Angel's Wing.
Yeah.
You've got multiple assets at your disposal to get you into combat as quickly as possible, and all of your main assault units are jump infantry. You know, fly is a really, really powerful ability still.
Yeah.
Thunderdwarf Cavalry don't have that. Wolfen don't have that. You know, it's a delivery thing, right? Yeah. So, you know, does this book change where Space Wolves sit in terms of their playing style, in terms of, you know, how good they are? My instinct is to say it doesn't really change very much at all.
No.
It gives you some cool extra bits. Do not get me wrong, but and it's better than having nothing.
Yeah.
But it's not like what the Grey Knights got. You know,
No.
It's completely revolutionised an army which is at the very very bottom of the pile.
That's a shame.
It is a shame.
It's a shame because they needed something to help them a bit, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like they're just not there.
No.
Like no one. If you go to a tournament and you see someone with Space Wolves, everyone kind of looks at you like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, right. If you got Space Wolves,
because it doesn't. They just don't work.
Yeah.
And that's. I mean, you know, and some people go, "Oh well, you know, it's Psychic Awakening. It's just meant to be like a bit of a supplement." But there is evidence that whole armies can completely change, as you just mentioned.
Yeah.
They just need a bit of help getting up that board. They need to either be they need to be faster. If you're not going to give them the same sorts of things as the Blood Angels, which they shouldn't have, mind. They shouldn't be exactly the same at all.
No, well, that would be boring.
But there needs to be something else. And we did a list analysis earlier today, and I've already kind of gone off on this rant before, so I will bring it closer together.
Yeah.
They need to be faster.
Yeah.
To get that. That's it. Because the playstyle that seems to be being put upon them at the moment is they're so resilient that they will get there eventually, but they don't, because they're not quite fast enough, and there are armies which are faster, and the answer to get around in vulnerable saves is mortal wounds or high rate of fire. And all of the top competitive armies are not only fast, they all have mortal wound output, or the majority of them, or their rate of fire is so high it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it leaves an army like this, you just kind of go, cool, what do I do? The impulsive spam thing is, it doesn't feel very Space Wolfy though.
I know what you mean.
The army is
feels like a Primaris.
It feels like a Primaris army, which
the Space Wolves brush painted over.
And I almost feel there are chapters which could do that better anyway. It's just a different colour, in my opinion, right? So they kind of cut down the middle where you've got this thing. If you wanted to run, Ragnar and that sort of stuff, that will kind of work.
Yeah.
And then it's more just about spamming impulses. You have small units with Thunderhammers in there, and then you have characters dotted around, and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't have any of the Wolfen, you don't have any of the Thunderdwarf Cavalry, you don't have any of the named characters, you don't have any of the units which have built the army to where it is today.
Which seems kind of bland.
Bland? Well, it doesn't seem like Space Wolves.
No, because you want to see the Blood Claws, I want to see the Long Fangs, I want to see the Grey Hunters.
We've spent all of this time building this incredibly diverse book of miniatures, and because we're moving away from the old guard into, you know, Primaris at the moment, they're in a very funny spot because all of the stuff that they have used is now kind of doesn't quite fit with the new stuff, so it's like...
And weirdly, Blood Angels would be in the exact same position if it weren't for the fact that they're two iconic units, the Sanguinary Guard and the Death Company, both have delivery systems.
Really solid ones.
Yeah, and then in fact, actually, the Sanguinary Guard almost became criminally cheap.
They're so good.
Which basically means that you actually just see this is only competitively, and you don't have to play every game that way, but you'll just see Sanguinary Guard spam. You won't even see the Death Company, you just see Sanguinary Guard. Because actually, truth be told, they act and feel a little bit like Primaris because they've got 2 wounds.
Yeah.
And they've got a 2+ save.
Yeah.
And
then you put the Standard Sacrifice in.
Yeah. So now all of a sudden, it's a different story, right?
So it's a hard one for me as like someone who really likes the Space Wolves.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't feel like anything.
Well, the problem is 1 wound power armor Marines just don't really cut it very well anymore. And they cut it if they're scouts because you're not paying anything for them. They're really cheap. But when you start paying,
kind of cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, they are kind of. I mean, look, they are. But it's the same. It's the same difference as a Chaos Space Marine now.
Yeah.
A Chaos Space Marine doesn't compare with. It doesn't compare with a Primaris Marine.
Yeah.
You want him to, but he doesn't. He's not. He's not a veteran of the Long War in comparison, and he feels really quite weak, to be honest, in comparison.
Yeah.
And of course, the argument is, well, he's a bit cheaper, but. He's a Chaos Space Marine. This is a Blood Claw. This is a great. They're supposed to be badasses,
Yeah.
But the reality is they're not in comparison with the Primaris. And I know what you mean about if you want to go down the Primaris path of Space Wolves and then mix in Thunderwolves or have 1 blob of Thunderwolves and 1 unit of Wolfen, you might feel like you lose a little bit of flavour.
A little bit. I think you lose the entirety of the flavour.
Yeah, I
and
understand.
that's why I'm upset.
But I think I would use the converting opportunity to make those intercessors as Blood Claw-esque or as Grey Hunter-esque as possible. To bring that flavour back. Because let's face it, the intercessors are supposed to be replacing those guys anyway.
Yeah.
So they'll still end up being organised in packs like Space Wolves do. So. At some point, you have to get on board that train and go, well, I would rather have the extra attack on my troops. I'd rather have the extra wounds,
Well, it's more so it just feels at the moment like there's not quite enough to go the full Primaris route.
No.
That I get.
Well, do you know what the biggest issue for me is? It's actually the lack of compatibility. Because you can't put a Primaris unit in a Stormwolf or a Stormfang.
And vice versa.
Primaris don't have any drop pods, which would feel quite Space Wolfy, and I said the same with my Flesh Terrors that I want to do.
Yeah.
You're lacking some of those iconic things which the assault armies in particular, the Blood Angels and Space Wolves, want to use. Like you can imagine Ragnar Blackmane and his packs of Blood Claws all pouring out of drop pods in a drop pod assault, Then
I'm on board.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah. But we don't have that option, and that makes it really difficult. I mean, even if you could just put them in the Stormwolves, you go, oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, Ragnar Blackmane can't go in the Stormwolf.
No. He's too big now.
He's too big to fit in, apparently.
Yeah.
Which is
had
really,
too many dinners.
It's really irritating.
Yeah.
It really is, because you want to use, as you say, some of those iconic Space Wolf only units. Just like, if you're Dark Angels, you want to see some Deathwing, you want to see some Raven Wing, because that's their iconic units for you. Not to say that a pure Green Wing army isn't cool, because you have Azrael and stuff, but you get the point. You'll have, some of those iconic classic things. And if you don't have any of those, then it feels like you're playing a generic Space Marine army.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like... It will look... The thing is, you can make it look like wolves.
Well, that's the path I would take.
Your imagination is your imagination. You can make them as wolfy as you like.
Yeah.
You can be howling to the blue moon, all that sort of stuff. But the flavour doesn't feel like it's there. Way more so than the Blood Angels. And I can't quite put my finger on that, but I think it is because the 2 premier units are still very valid because of how you deliver them.
Yeah.
So that, anyway, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with the whole thing. I think you're right. Look, there's stuff you can do, and maybe it is time to start, slowly moving away from that stuff. And
we discuss it in the list.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we just released a list. A list is coming out for Space Wolves.
Yeah.
Do a list analysis. That will be over on demand on our website.
Yeah, I get more irate in that one, if I'm honest.
I come up with some ideas. I've got some ideas. I would like to see. I might do a list analysis of Space Wolves myself. Really sort of deep dive, see if I can make them work. What you presented was quite fun, I think.
Yeah. It's not.
But there are certain things which. Anyway, watch it.
Yeah,
because the thing is, we're trying because we're trying to project with the list analysis. Sometimes we'll go really fluffy lists. Like I've done a Flesh Terror one, which you guys will see on Freeview soon, which is actually quite fluffy, but it's still strong. But it's not like ultra competitive, but it's good enough to mix it up against an all-comers, and that's generally what we try and do with the list analysis. Like, it doesn't have to be like top tier competitive, but something which you'll be able to throw down against most things, whilst hopefully retaining a bit of fluff. But it's a tricky one with Space Wolves. It's a tricky one. But look, that's the Space Wolves portion of the book. It is Orcs next. We'll have a little break and we'll be back in just a second. Okay, we're on to the Green Tides, the Orcs. Possibly your favourite.
Yeah.
Although I still think you like Death Guard a lot as well.
I like the Death Guard, I like the Orcs, I like the Tau, I like the Space Wolves. I do like the Blood Angels as well. And I don't mind the Tyranids.
Yeah, you do like the Tyranids. You tend to quite like assault-based armies, actually.
I do. I really
Which is
enjoy
ironic,
it.
Considering Tau are your favourite.
Yeah, well, I think that's why, though. Because, like, I have my core, and then, like, I have my mistresses.
I see. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Right. So, Ways of the Orc. What we have here are some cool things. New and updated units. Some new stratagems. Specialist mobs. Very, very cool. Custom jobs. So, specialist mobs are basically your custom clans. And custom jobs are like biomorph adaptations.
Yeah.
You know, like a replacement, instead of a relic, you get a custom, you get like a special bit of gear or an ability or whatever.
Yeah.
Clan psychic powers, nice. And of course we have a name generator for the Orcs. But let's kick off with the big man himself, Ghazghkull Thraka. Incredible model, massive, seems appropriate for Ghazghkull Thraka. And he's a weapon. So I know that there's been mixed reviews on him.
I think he's awesome.
I think he's really cool. For me, it's the fact that you can only take, is it 3 wounds per phase?
I think it's 4.
Grand War Boss. Model can be included in any Orc detachment, which is really, really neat. Without preventing other units from getting their cultures, which is good, because otherwise, if you weren't running Goths, but you wanted to do bad moons, but you really wanted Ghazghkull in there, it would suck you couldn't take him. I think that they should do that for something like all Blood Angel successor chapters for the Sanguinor.
Yeah.
Because I think the Sanguinor is this thing that appears, right?
Yeah.
So he should appear for any of the sons of, because they're all sons of Sanguinius.
That's true.
It's just the true sons are the Flesh Terrors. What's that?
No, just keep going. I was waiting for it, you see.
What's that?
Yeah, come on,
Okay.
come on now.
So we'll go over Ghazghkull's profile. It's got 7-inch moves. He's pretty sprinty for an Orc.
Yeah.
He's strength 7 and on his top profile, and he's got 5 attacks on his top profile. He's toughness 7, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 5, 12 wounds, leadership 8, and he's got a 2+ save because he's in his mega armor. Now, what I really like about him is as he degrades, he gets more attacks.
Yeah, which is awesome.
It's really good. His movement only ever goes down to 5 inches at the worst, and his attacks only go to 5 at the worst. But by that point, he's got 7 attacks, and his claw is ×2 strength. So even at his weakest strength, he's still strength 10 with 7
which
attacks.
Is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think that's really, really awesome. Mork's Raw, Assault 12, Strength 5 -1. I'm sure a lot of people would have loved it to have been damaged too, but you can't get everything.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to really be around in combat, isn't he? So let's go over his rules. Friendly Orc infantry units within 6 inches of the model can be chosen to charge even if they advance. In addition, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of models in friendly Orc infantry units whilst they're units within 6 inches of this model if their unit made a charge move this turn. That's incredibly, incredibly good for Orcs.
Yep.
More attacks, anything which allows you to roll even more dice is really, really good. Prophet of Gork and Mork, he's got a 4-up invuln, and yes, you were right, you can only take a maximum of 4 wounds. Now the thing is, when you heal him up with, if you keep a Pain Boy near him, it's actually going to be quite hard to kill him.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Because people say, oh, well, you can target him because he's over 10 wounds. But actually, if you can only take 4 wounds in the shooting phase, and assuming that he's not then up in the front and smitten, in the psychic phase, he can actually be pretty tricky to kill. And once he makes it into combat, he's going to be smashing face.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's interesting. He's got the extra ability. Goths is the best. Reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made with melee weapons by models in friendly Goth Orc units whilst they're within 6 inches of the model. Fair enough. Then he's got the boss is watching. When a friendly Orc unit within 6 inches of this model fails a morale test, this model can restore order in a brutal display of violence. If it does, the unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, and that morale test is treated as having been passed. Then you've got his little sidekick, Makari. Grot stats, but he's got 4 wounds and 2 attacks because he's just a legend.
Yes.
He's got Makari's Stabber, which basically is strength 3, damage 1. When resolving an attack made with this weapon, a wound roll, though, 6+ inflicts D3 mortal wounds on the target, and the attack sequence ends. He is the ultimate little irritating runt.
Yes.
That just comes up and sticks you with his little dagger.
It's perfect. I like to think they're good pals.
I really like the model as well.
Yeah, he's great.
So Gazgul's War Banner. When a model in a friendly Goth Orc unit within 6 inches of this model would lose a wound, and this model is within 3 inches of a friendly Gazgul Thraka unit, roll 1d6. On a 6+, that wound is not lost. Cool. Neat. Accidental Figurehead. Friendly Goth Gretchen units use this model's leadership instead of their own whilst they're within 12 inches of him, and he's got a whopping leadership of 6. Suspiciously Lucky. He has a 2+ invulnerable save. Keep up at the start of your movement phase. If this model is within 3 inches of Gazgul Thraka, you can add 2 to his move characteristic. So basically give him a 7-inch move, which is great.
Yeah.
We then have, that's Gazgul Thraka. I mean, there isn't, he does what he says on the tin. He's a good buffing unit. Points wise, he is
285. He was just back there on that page.
Ah, yes, 285. Makari is a whopping 65, but I can understand that if you're running a Goth army because he does give some decent buffs. Yeah, okay. He's a bit expensive, I won't lie. Is he the best thing in the game? No. He looks real cool, though. And do you know what? If you run him right, I think he could be really good, actually.
There are some armies which will struggle to deal with Gazgul.
Yes,
well.
Yeah.
Because the thing with Gazgul is you almost need to be hurting him in at least 2 phases for it to be successful.
Yeah.
So with things like Tau, he doesn't die.
No, and he does punishing damage in combat. He really does do punishing damage.
Flat 4, isn't it?
Because it's flat 4 damage.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. It's flat 4 damage. It's -4.
Yeah.
So
he gets into any armoured vehicle, it's dead.
It's good night.
Yeah. He's taken out a knight.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's crazy.
It is, yeah.
It's wild.
It's great. He's Gazgul Thraka.
Yeah, as he should.
Right, you've got Big Mech with custom force field. This is the reintroduction, so you don't have to have one with Mega Armor anymore.
Yeah.
Or you don't have to run is it the Morkanor or the Gorkanor? It's one of the two.
The Morkanor.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a breath of fresh air to get this guy back.
Yeah.
They relegated him, didn't they?
Yeah, and
he's returned.
Yeah. And he's cheap.
He's cheap. He's only 55 points.
Yeah, 20 points cheaper. It says including war gear.
Yep.
So it used to be 75, so it's 55.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't anything else to say about him. The reason you're taking him is 9-inch 5+ invuln bubble. It does say...
It's been updated, this custom force.
Yes, so it's not just against ranged weapons.
Yeah, this one says just against attacks. So.
I do wonder if that's going to be FAQ'd though, so don't get your hopes up too high, just in case.
Get one anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you need one anyway, exactly. Yeah. But it seems written with this indefinite. It's definitely written with that intention.
Yeah.
But just sometimes when they change something radically and they realise, they might have made a mistake. I don't think it's bad for him to do that. Okay. I think it's cool. But I just wonder because it is different.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, great, cheap, auto include, and something Orcs needed. We then go over to the stratagems. A lot of these are super fun and really quite interesting. These alone, in my opinion, sort of are the winners of this book.
Yeah.
Over the Space Wars, if you like. But custom job stratagem. So use the stratagem before the battle. Your army can have one additional custom job. However, all of the custom jobs that you include must be different and be given to different units. But there's some really good custom jobs. Custom jobs. So we won't cover every single stratagem, but what what sticks out with you? I really liked.
I like the flyer ones.
Yeah, flying headbutts.
I think flying headbutt, as you've all seen, is
is
so satisfying.
Yeah, that
was the greatest thing that I've ever done in any game ever. It did nothing really, but it was so cool.
So it's use the stratagem at the end of the movement phase. Select one orc unit from your army that has the fly battlefield roll. The model is reduced to 0 wound and automatically crashes and burns.
So good. It's so good. I like wildfire for your burner bombers.
Yeah.
So it's only for a CP as well, which I think is crazy. So use this stratagem in your movement phase after selecting an enemy unit for the burner bomber. For the burner bombs ability of a burner bomber unit from your army.
Yeah.
That mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Select one other enemy unit within 6 of that unit, of the unit you selected. Roll a d6 for each model in that additional unit, up to a maximum of 10 dice. For each roll of a 5, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. The stratagem is not affected by the arsonist subculture. Yeah. But what's cool about that is, so you bomb one, then you bomb another, then you have more burner bombers, so they come over, they're bombing as well. And actually, that's suddenly quite interesting because your mortal wound output is insane.
Yeah, and then they've got squig bombs as well for the blitzer bomber.
Yeah,
you add one to a roll.
Add one to a roll, so it's going on. So you're doing mortal wounds on 3s for your blitzer bombers.
So that, that's another really good one. So all of a sudden, the planes are really quite interesting for the orcs. Yeah. In my opinion.
Well, the bombers are the scrapperjets and not scrapperjets, the Dakka-jets, I think they're called. They're not that. They're still what they are.
Although they have got strats now for some of the cool new vehicles, which you don't see very often, like a temperamental shock drive. This is for shock jump. Dragster in the shooting phase. The unit immediately advances. And the result is a 4+. All right, sorry, let me read that properly. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase after shooting with the shock jump dragster from your army. This unit immediately advances and the result is a 4+. Do not roll. It's only 1 CP. Boomdacker Snaz wagon. When an attack made with a ranged weapon successfully wounds a Boomdacker Snaz wagon model in your army, the saving throw is automatically passed. Do not roll, because basically they put a grot out in front.
Great.
So, I mean, for 1 CP, you can actually protect. If you're running just one Boomdacker Snazwagon, you can protect him.
Which is cool.
Just go, nah.
Yeah, sorry, thank you for playing.
Which is really, really cool.
Patch-up's good for your Morkanauts and Gorkanauts and Stompers.
Yeah, until the end of the turn.
Yeah, effectively, you double the wounds. You go up on double the wounds there, which is really, nice. Really good.
Clever Spanner was good for the looters or burner boys.
Yeah, so you spend 2 CP and it's like that for if you have 10 or more looters, you spend those 2 CP and then it's just for the rest of the game. So you spend it once and that's it. At the beginning, so you roll 2 dice and you choose the highest for your number of shots. If you're going to be running looter bombs, it makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, look, there are some other cool ones. There's no doubt about that.
But already the difference.
But the difference is, already now you're seeing units which you perhaps wouldn't have seen before for a while at least, and it's quite cool. It's really, really quite cool. So look, that's the stratagems. I'm a big fan. I think that there are some new interesting plays for orcs. You then go into the specialist mobs. You've got Pyromaniacs, Hunters, Boom Boys, Fly Boys, Grot Mobs, Tin Heads, Feral Orcs, Mad Boys. Are any of these better than your standard orc clans? Depends on what you're running. What you've got now is the ability to really specialise some of your detachments.
Yeah, which is cool for orcs, right? I quite like that, the idea, especially now that if you play it right and you've got Gazkul and in leading everyone, and he's bringing all of these different orcs together. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of, I like it. I really like it. Like Gazkul's arrived here, and then all of these different orc clans, like subcultures and stuff, start to come out to follow him. It's, the way that it's kind of presented is very cool. I'm really on board with that. These are good.
Are there any that stand out to you?
We have kind of talked about this a little bit in the original game that we did, but like there are good. I mean, I've used 2 of them now. I've used 3 of them now in different games. The Grot Mobs, they're Choku Zoggers. So Gretchen models only. Models in a unit with this subculture gain a 6+ invulnerable save, which is good. But when resolving an attack with a vehicle model in this unit with the subculture, you can reroll the hit rolls of 1. So if you're using smasher guns...
Yeah. So you get your bad moons ability, but for your grots, basically.
Yeah, exactly, for the grots.
Which is really neat.
Which is really, really cool.
And you're kind of going to do that, aren't you? Let's be honest.
Why wouldn't you?
You kind of do that pretty much all the time.
Yeah. So you fit that spearhead in there.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
I love the Wild Boys.
Yeah. 6-inch piling, isn't it? Yeah.
6-inch piling, and also when you're advancing with them, you roll 2 additional dice and discard the 2 lowest.
It makes you fast.
Makes them makes boys very fast. It makes also, you don't necessarily have, depending on deployment, you don't have to rely on the jump as much, which is better. Let's be honest, but this is cool. I really like that. There's a few. I mean, also like if you just want to have a good time, like the Mad Boys. The Mad Boys are fun because you effectively at the start of each battle round you roll a d3 and then you consult the table. So you've got the
cannot be re-rolled, it says as well.
Yeah, but you've got the Moronics. So when resolving an attack that targets a unit with this subculture, add 1 to the saving throws. That's not bad.
Yeah.
And then the Nutters units with
also
the subculture only plus morale, which if you're running boys,
it's very useful.
It's very useful. And then you've got the Frenzies, so you had 1 to the strength characteristic of models. Like all of those are really good.
They are, yeah.
But you roll for
it's a bit swingy. Sometimes you're going to want one in particular, and then you'll get the other one.
But when I look at that, though, I go, there isn't a turn where some of those things wouldn't help you.
That's true. That is true.
So that's good.
Boom Boys improve the strength and armor AP characteristics of rockets, stick bomb weapons, as well as tank buster bombs, which is cool. Wing missiles.
So I think bomb boys you could build an entire army around with.
Yes, I think you would have to really to make use of that.
But I think you could actually do some pretty interesting things with that.
Yeah.
The fly boys is fine. It's it's fly models, so if you're using things like death copters and all that sort of stuff, but it's
they're kind of having the benefit of cover to its saving throw. Okay,
it's all right.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it's probably the one that you'll see the least of, in my opinion.
Yeah, if it was more than 1 inch away from enemy units at the start of the preceding charge phase, subtract 1 from the hit roll.
Yeah, what's this Hunters do?
So that's the one where if you're in wholly within a terrain feature, you gain a 5+ invulnerable save, which is actually really good.
Yeah.
When resolving an attack with a melee weapon by modelling the unit of subculture, while that model or any model in the target unit is on or within a terrain feature, improve the AP. So I mean, if you're in like a really dense terrain, or if you've got the whole unit in there, it's actually really nasty. Yeah. Because they're rocking a 5+ invuln and they've got -1 all of a sudden, and you have a boatload of attacks because you're orcs.
Yeah.
So I mean, situationists, they're actually incredible.
Yeah.
And then you've got pyromaniacs, the arsonists. Reroll any and all of the dice when determining a number of shots made for burners, scorchers, burner bottles, burner exhausts, killer jets, and scorcher missiles equipped on models in a unit with this subculture. When resolving an attack made with a melee profile of a burner equipped on a model with this subculture, you can re-roll the wound roll. That's really neat. Yeah. When resolving the burner bombs ability for a unit in this subculture, you add 1 to each roll. So again, if you build your army around it, or you build your detachment around it, you take 3 burner bombers or whatever. Yeah. It can be quite interesting. It can be quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, look, this is the thing. All of a sudden you've got some flexibility and you're already starting to think of, oh, I can run this detachment now, I can plug this in now, where I wasn't really feeling that with the Space Wolves, to be honest. No. But I'd love it if you are like a really experienced Space Wolf player, because obviously we're not the most experienced with them, are we?
I put them down at the end of 7th, really.
Right, so, perhaps there's something we're missing and you could just leave a comment below and let us know, because that would be cool. Because we have got a Space Wolf army on loan from Fletcher at the moment.
Which is cool.
Which is awesome. So we've already filmed like 3 games with them, so we're starting to get to know them quite well. But yeah, maybe you guys will have some ideas for us. So then we come on to our custom jobs. And then you've got clan psychic powers, some of which are really interesting, I think. So custom jobs, it's like the biomorph adaptations. If your army includes 1 or more Mechboy workshop units, you can give 1 of the following custom jobs. That's the terrain piece that they have, by the way, to an orc unit from your army. In addition, you can take custom jobs by using the custom jobs stratagem. All of the custom jobs that you include must be different and be given to different units. Note that some custom jobs are weapons that replace one of the model's existing weapons. Where this is the case, you must, if you are using points value, still pay the cost of the weapon that is being replaced. So standard match play rules. Write down any custom jobs your models have on your army roster. So there's a lot. I mean, we've used slug gubbin on the Gorkanauts, which is a straight up 24 shot, strength 6 -1.
Which is cool.
And if you're
within
12, you add 1 to the hit roll.
Yeah, which is cool.
Which is really, really neat.
Yeah.
And it's a +1 ballistic skill one as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the sparkly bits.
Sparkly bits. So what you do is you give that to...
A Morkanaut,
yes,
really.
Exactly. So sparkly bits for +1, which is actually really neat.
Yeah.
Because on that big mega zapper
yeah,
cannon...
hitting on 4s.
Is actually really quite decent.
And really you want to, if you're running a Morkanaut with sparkly bits, I'd consider looking at bad moons for that, so you get the reroll ones as well.
Definitely.
So that's how I ran it in the first game I played with them, and it's really good.
It's effective, yeah. And then you've got your strat to count as double wounds profile, just in case someone's degraded you. So that's a winner there. Makes another interesting take. Zag Zap, that's a battle wagon, bone breaker or gun wagon model with a zap gun only. Zag Zap replaces the zap gun, has the following profile: heavy 1, 2d6, -3, damage 3. When resolving an attack with this weapon, do not make a hit roll. It automatically scores a hit.
Oof.
And that's quite interesting. Before firing this weapon, roll to determine the strength of the shot. If the result is 9+, do not make a wound roll. Inflict 3 mortal wounds on the target and the attack sequence ends.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, these are great. You know, you can whack these on depending on how you want to customize things. Red Roller, that's a Bone Breaker model only. Replace a model's Bone Breaker Ram ability with the following: Red Roller. When this model makes a charge move, add 6 to its attack's characteristic until the end of the turn.
Cool.
Brutal.
I mean, that's really good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The Boomer replaces a kill cannon on a battle wagon, bone breaker, or gun wagon. It's heavy 2d6, strength 8, -2, damage 2.
Yeah, come on now.
Corkscrew, this is a Megatrack scrapjet unit only. The first time this unit finishes a consolidation move in each fight phase, it can immediately fight again. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I still quite like the Megatrack scrapjet because you can do the D3 mortal wounds. I think the Dragster does that as well on the charge.
I believe so, yeah.
So if you've got lots of them, it's quite interesting. I know that a lot of Orc players don't like them that much. They think they die too easily, which I understand, but these are starting to become quite interesting, I think. Sizzly Rivets, custom booster blaster unit only. When resolving an attack made with a rivet cannon by a model in this unit, an unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target in addition to any other damage.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's your Death Killer Wartrike one. Gork's Raw, model own, Death Killer Wartrike model only. Add 4 inches to the range characteristic if it's the model's Killer Jet, which is actually quite good.
Yeah.
And change the type characteristic on its burner profile to Assault 6. That's decent. The biggest problem with the Death Killer Wartrike is that he only rocks in at Strength 7. That's been a massive problem because he is the war boss, isn't he? The Death Killer Wartrike.
That's how we view.
Yeah, he's a war boss on a bike, basically. That's what I think of him as.
Yeah.
He needs to be Strength 8. Now there is something in here which actually does give him. I think one of the stratagems you can use to actually upgrade him, which makes him a little bit better. Are you talking
about the biggest boss?
Is it the biggest boss? Add 1 to the model's wounds and attacks characteristic. No, but you could give him that.
Because then you get to 4 up invulnerable as well.
Here we go. Full speed, lads. Yeah, here we go. Use the stratagem in your charge phase. After charging with an Orc Bike or Death Killer Wartrike, until the end of that turn, add 1 to the strength characteristic.
Yeah.
Because the problem he had is that he'd be wounding Marines on 3s. And he didn't quite have enough attacks to make him really...
He's only got like 5, I think.
Yeah. So you wouldn't quite get the kills that you would expect of the model. The model's epic.
Yeah.
So at least you got that little thing now. It sucks that you have to spend a CP on it, but there we go. Get him in there. Look. It's interesting. There's some really cool bits in there.
Yeah.
You got something for the Stomper. I don't know if it's going to make it any good. Mind you, I mean, its Super Gatler suddenly has a damage characteristic of 2.
And that thing can go off.
In addition, when rolling for the Weapon Psycho Dagger Blaster ability, you can re-roll the D6 once per phase. The problem is he's so expensive.
Yeah.
He's so expensive. We've got one. We ran him in an on-demand game, didn't we?
It died.
Quite recently. Semi-recently.
Yeah, it's not great.
It was fun.
Yeah. But, you know.
He does die a bit too easily, I think. So, look, that's the custom jobs. Some really cool stuff in there. We didn't cover every single one.
Hang on, I just want to check something.
So another one?
Well, does patch up also work for stompers? Okay, so that is a bit more.
Oh, he counts double his. Oh, okay, that's actually not bad then, because
you can. So
what the stomper does have is double is an immense amount of wounds.
Yeah, so you'll always pretty much be on your top profile at least.
That's interesting.
He's not. It doesn't help his survivability really, but he's always going to be performing because I seem to remember he degrades quite dramatically.
Yeah, and his shots just became.
Yeah. Maybe we'll take.
Maybe we'll give it another go. We're going to give that another go.
Yeah. Okay.
Get the stomper out again because we've got
tub thumping.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's really cool. All right.
We'll do that soon. Yeah, we'll do that soon.
Look, you've got to try these things, right? It's the funniest thing is when players read something like that's absolutely rubbish, and then actually you get like some of the really good competitive players that go, "Is it though?"
Yeah.
They use it. So you've got to use things to know for certain sometimes. Right, clan psychic powers. Goths, Bull Charge. Bull Charge has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select a friendly Goth unit within 18 inches. Until the end of the turn, charge distances of less than 7 inches rolled for that unit after modifiers count as 7.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah, that's
great. So you get some
ensuring it
guaranteed charges off. Death Skulls, Maniacal Seizure. Warp charge 7. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker until the start of your next psychic phase. When resolving an attack made by that unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Cool. Okay. When resolving an attack made by a friendly Death Skulls model against that unit, improve the AP by 1.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bad Moons, Gleaming Gear. Warp charge value 6. If manifested, select one friendly Bad Moons unit in 18 inches. Until the start of your next psychic phase, when resolving an attack made against that unit, add 1 to the saving throw. Okay.
It's
decent.
When you use that on like your Morkanaut.
Yep. Invulnerable saves aren't affected, by the way, but yes. Snake Bites, Constriction. Constriction has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 12 inches of the Psyker. Until the start of your next psychic phase, halve the attack's characteristics of models in that unit. Really great debuff there.
Yeah.
Evil Sons, Visions in the Smoke. Warp charge value 6. If manifested, select one friendly Evil Sun's vehicle unit within 12 inches of this Psyker. You can only select a unit with a wounds characteristic of 18 or more if the result of the psychic test is 9 or more. So that's interesting because they're probably thinking about Morkanauts, Gorkanauts, or Stompers maybe. Until the start of your next psychic phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit, you can re-roll the hit roll.
Woo! Yeah, I saw it.
Well, you could put that on the Stomper.
Yeah, I know.
Couldn't you? In combination.
We will make the Stomper awesome.
Well, it's got damage 2 on his Super Gatler then.
And then we're putting for an extra 55 points, you're putting the Big Mac in his belly. So he's getting his 5 up invulnerable as well.
That's actually getting a bit tasty now.
Yeah. What would be... Okay, hang on. Just have a little peek.
Re-rolling all the hits.
All of the hits.
So you need to make sure that your Psyker's power always goes off. So you need to put him near as many orcs as possible.
Yeah. So you've got him surrounded by all of your boys, don't you? To protect it.
Is this Big Tooth?
Oh yeah.
Nigel. He'll be there. He'll cast it.
He'll love it.
Visions in the Smoke.
Look, it's pretty interesting suddenly. Because what was the gun that makes it 2 damage?
That Super Gatler thing. Blister Gatler. Yeah, model Super Gatler.
So that's heavy 3d6, strength 7, -2, 2 damage, And the Psycho Daka Blaster in the shooting phase after firing this model. Oh yeah, you can roll it. You can
re-roll the D6 once per phase.
You can re-roll it once per phase because normally if you fail it, then that's it. It doesn't. It runs out of ammo, and that's the end of it. So that's pretty cool.
This game is happening.
But anyway,
I'm going to use them.
No.
Yes.
I'm using the Stomp Arm. Thumping. Of course, I'm using him. That's me.
Alright, Blood Axes, Clever Talk. Clever Talk has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one enemy unit visible to the Psyker. Until the start of your next psychic phase, that unit cannot fire Overwatch at Blood Axe units from your army and cannot be chosen to fight until all eligible Blood Axe units from your army have done so. That's cool. Pretty cool. Then finally, Freebooters, Jolly Orc's Glare. Jolly Orc's Glare has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select an enemy unit within 18 inches. Until the start of your next psychic phase, halve the move characteristic of models in that unit and subtract 1 from advance and charge rolls made for it. Yeah. Again, a very powerful debuff.
Yeah. And it's only casting level of 6 as well, so that's really good. And that's it.
Orc name generated, that's it. That's the book. I mean, we've already discussed some really cool things for the Orcs.
Yeah.
We will be doing that game.
Yeah.
Because that would just be too cool.
Yeah. But this is the thing, right? So you finish reading the Orcs and you go, cool.
Yeah. And you kind of excited. Yeah. I want to try
Whereas
that.
the other one, we're both sitting there going like, well, we could try this maybe, and So yeah, I think, and that's kind of where it comes down to. I love the Orcs. I think they've done a great job with the Orcs. They've added all this new great flavour. I love Gazkul. His rules are really nice and individual and different. You can take him wherever you want. As I said, the model's amazing. It's inspiring. It excites you. When it comes to the Space Wolves, look, we're no worse off than we were.
No, definitely.
In fact, we are markedly better in different areas. And Ragnar is an absolute weapon.
Yes.
An absolute weapon. It's letting go of some of the hang-ups that you've got on what the army is at the moment and starting to move towards different play styles if you want to make him as effective as possible.
Yeah.
Which is just how it is. So, I think when and I'm sure they will at some point, they'll release Primaris Marines on Thunderwolf Cavalry, you know what I mean? And they will look amazing. They'll do all these sorts of things, but
I hope so, because it would be awesome.
It'd be really cool.
What are they going to do with the vehicles, though? I mean, things like the Stormfangs and Stormwolves, which are already really cool.
They're just going to have to. They do one of two things. I reckon they'll sell like a little add-on that you can add on to them
to make him a Primaris pilot.
Yeah, like a little bolt-on kit, or they'll make a new model, or they just change the rules.
This is why it's so tricky.
Because I don't know the answer.
Tricky.
I don't know the answer. Actually, I'm not gonna say I understand. I just don't know the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Yeah.
Well, look. That's it. Saga of the Beasts.
Yeah.
Very cool. It's nice to get. It's always nice to get some new rules, even if they might not be what you want them to be all the time.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's new toys, new ideas to play with your toys, and that's always going to be a good thing. So look, that's another review done.
Yep.
We've got plenty more content coming your way very, very soon. So until next time, this has been Lawrence and Bone, and we'll see you soon.
Bye now. Bye.